Finally, let's go ahead and turn our attention to our last market structure with the oligopoly. And remember that these are the characteristics and features of this market structure. There are going to be relatively few firms, so no longer are we working with an infinite amount of buyers and sellers. We're actually just working with a few firms, and each of these firms are going to have some type of interaction with one another. So here, we're going to say it's probably going to be less than maybe 50 firms in this particular market structure. There's no really specific number under this, but in our case, we'll just say less than 50. The main feature under this market structure is going to be interdependent decision making. There's some type of mutual interdependence. So what one firm is going to do, any action that they take, is going to go ahead and impact every other single firm within the industry as well. So here, if firm A raises prices, firm B, C, D, and E, they're all going to be affected by that, and they are going to enact some type of their own business decisions and strategies as well. So what one firm does is going to affect everybody else under this market structure. Number three, substantial barriers to market entry. So there are going to be a few obstacles that prevent any firms from entering into this particular industry, and it's going to be quite difficult for any one firm to actually try to do so. Because these few firms, they hold a lot of market power, they do have the ability to set prices, they do want to keep people out, keep new firms and new companies out. So there are going to be quite a few barriers to entry for any firms wanting to break into this particular field. Like we said, there's going to be shared market power, considerable control over the price. So each of these few firms, they do have market power. So therefore, they're going to be able to set prices above what is seen compared to perfect competition or monopolistically competitive firms. But it's probably not going to be as high as compared to the monopoly case. And because they do have substantial market power, there is going to be potential for long-run economic profits. So as we transition from the short run over to the long run, we are going to see that they can actually have some type of positive profits in the long run when we compare to the perfect competition and monopoly competitive firms where there was zero economic profits or normal profits. So what are a few examples of the oligopoly type of market structure? We said that hey, probably car manufacturers or the automobile manufacturers are going to be the best example of oligopolies that we can think about. They do have huge fixed costs, which hits on the idea of the barriers to entry, but there are only going to be a few big firms under the car or automobile manufacturing. There's Ford, there's Toyota, there's other ones as well, but there are only going to be a few big companies under the automobile industry, and what one firm is going to do is going to be affecting every other firm as well. The airline industry, another great example of oligopoly, American Airlines, Delta, United, JetBlue, few big players right there. What one airline is going to do affects everyone else. The textbook industry, the oil producers, those are all great examples of oligopoly firms. And under oligopoly, this is probably the most complex market structure that we do take a look at because there's three particular models that we hit on, and they hit on the idea of that mutual interdependence just a little bit more. The first model is going to be about the cartel. The second model is going to be the kink demand curve. And the third model, where we spend the most amount of time, is going to be game theory. And under all three of these models, like we said, what one firm is going to do is going to be affecting every other single firm, and that is where we hit the idea of mutual interdependence, and that's what we're going to see in all three of these models. So in the next video, we'll hit the very first model with the cartel and see exactly why cartels are inherently unstable, and we're going to see exactly why cartels are so powerful when they can come to some type of agreement, but why that agreement is going to be very, very unstable. So we'll go ahead and take a look at that in our next lecture.